Many fans of The Lord of the Rings, especially those who only watched the movies and never read Tolkien's books, tend to see Gandalf as a kind, wise, and noble old man who selflessly helps the weak and fights evil. But what if this image is far too naive? What if Gandalf was not only a protector, but also a cunning politician whose actions shaped the fate of Middle-earth for centuries? His wanderings were not accidental. For hundreds of years, Gandalf walked among the realms of men, from Gondor to Angmar, forging friendships with the powerful and slowly expanding his influence. In the northern lands, where once stood the great kingdom of Arnor, the realm had fractured into three: Arthedain, Rudor, and Cardolan. Each sought dominion, and it was there that Gandalf made his first serious choice. He supported Arthedain, from whose royal line Aragorn would one day descend. Saruman, by contrast, placed his bet on Cardolan. In the end, Gandalf's choice proved victorious. A similar game unfolded in Rohan. Theoden, under the sway of Saruman and his advisor Grimr, nearly lost his kingdom. But Gandalf intervened at the right moment, securing the loyalty of Éomer, and that decision ultimately turned the tide. In Gondor, the struggle for influence was even more intricate. Saruman relied on the line of the stewards, while Gandalf explored multiple options. He supported Aragorn, but also considered Faramir a backup piece, recognizing his kindness and loyalty. When the decisive moment came, Gandalf's gamble on Aragorn paid off. The new king was utterly devoted to him. Yet the wizard's intrigues were not limited to men. Even among the elves, Gandalf was a controversial figure. Within the White Council, he had the support of Galadriel, Elrond, and Círdan, but Saruman had his own allies: Radagast, Celeborn, Celebrian, and even Thranduil. A major source of elven distrust toward Gandalf was his open support for the dwarves, with whom many elves held long-standing grudges. Subtle hints in Tolkien's writings suggest that Celeborn and Thranduil regarded him with suspicion, seeing in him an ally of those they despised. His political maneuvers shone most clearly in the matter of Smaug. The quest to reclaim Erebor, which Gandalf orchestrated, was not simply an act of aid to the dwarves, but a calculated move. The wizard knew that if Sauron ever secured the dragon's allegiance, it would spell disaster for Middle-earth. Thus Gandalf sought to remove the threat before the darkness fully rose. At the same time, he hoped to revive the Dwarven kingdom and later use it as an ally in the coming war. The plan succeeded only partially. Thorin fell, and the dwarves' influence was weaker than Gandalf had hoped. Even so, step by step, Gandalf built a network of alliances and placed his bets on the right pieces. In the final game, it was his chosen cards, Aragorn and Frodo, that proved decisive. And when viewed soberly, the victory over Sauron was not merely the bravery of hobbits and the valor of warriors, but the result of a long, clever, and hidden game played by one wizard who knew how to lead entire nations. Looked at coldly, it becomes clear that Gandalf acted not as a selfless guardian of balance, but as a strategist playing a match planned decades ahead. His true strength lay not in spells, but in arranging the pieces upon the chessboard of Middle-earth. Take the Hobbits, for example. At first glance, Gandalf seemed to involve Bilbo in the quest against Smaug by chance, and later entrusted the ring to Frodo. But was this truly an accident? The wizard emphasized the simplicity and humility of hobbits too deliberately, as if preparing the world for the idea that only they could bear a burden impossible for men or elves. Frodo became the piece Gandalf played in the final stage of the game. One might say the fate of Middle-earth was placed on the shoulders of a being no one had ever taken seriously. Yet what if Frodo had fallen or refused? Gandalf always had a backup plan. Sam, his loyal companion, showed such resilience throughout the journey that he could have taken Frodo's place if needed. Doesn't it seem as though Gandalf had chosen not one, but two ring-bearers, ensuring that Sauron would have no chance at all? The matter of Saruman is no less intriguing. Many believe Gandalf was simply betrayed, but if one looks closer, did the White Wizard not play a strangely convenient role in the grand design? By drawing Rohan into chaos and weakening Gondor, Saruman forced Aragorn and Theoden to unite under Gandalf's guidance. Is this not the mark of a carefully arranged combination where even the enemy becomes a tool? Even the victory over Sauron looks ambiguous. Yes, Gandalf helped destroy the ring, but with it also vanished the greatest rival for dominance in Middle-earth. And who remained? Gandalf, surrounded by loyal allies, King Aragorn, Steward Faramir, the Riders of Rohan, the dwarves who had regained strength, and the elves who, despite disagreements, ultimately acknowledged his authority. And here arises a chilling question. What if Gandalf's true aim was not to save Middle-earth, but to create a world where every step, every fate was bound to him? He disappears at the moment of triumph, sailing away into the west, but is that not the perfect finale for a puppet master who has played his part? When all the pieces are set, when his design is complete, he departs, leaving behind a world shaped by his rules. Perhaps this is Gandalf's greatest secret, that he did not merely fight evil, but built a system where his word and his choices decided the outcome of a 1,000-year war. And now one can only wonder, was he truly the benevolent guardian of Middle-earth, or the master manipulator behind the longest and most dangerous game in the history of Arda?